As stated earlier, thank you all for coming out. My name is Baron Carter. I'm with Horace, as you can see, but on this venture, Horace E.J. Smith, we're joint venture together on this particular venture that you see up here for Forest Oak Middle School. So, what does this all mean? In our outreach to you, we really wanted to touch the subcontractor community early and engage with you on this particular venture in a much more immersive effort, intentional, for it to not just be for the sake of a singular contract or a singular project, but really immerse ourselves in the subcontractor community, listen to you, and also give you all the tools that you need and resources to succeed. We're going to delve into all of that, but we have a lot of good speakers who will be part of the project here to come up and speak to you today. So, of course, welcome. And the agenda items that we really just want to hit home today, you can see them here on the screen. We'll be going over the real purpose of this. I just went over a broad overview of it, introduce you to the team, the intended results, introduce you to some of the stakeholders on the project itself, give you the project overview, and also discuss how Fort Worth ISD can support you and vice versa, right? So, determining how we can integrate and partner. So many times on so many different projects, we always hear that, a subcontractor was, not treated right on a project, or they've lost their rear end on a project. We don't ever want that. We want to, like I said, we want to take a much more immersive effort and really create a pathway to success for all of us. Because, as general contractors, we're no better than our subcontractors or our worst subcontractor, for lack of a better term. So we really want to look at growth and mutual success, because we don't succeed unless you succeed. And then, obviously, number two is determining how the MBE contractors or NWPE contractors can support us on this venture. Pretty self-explanatory, but also, too, not very much so if we could delve a little bit deeper. So, up here you've got this person with the ugly mug, that's me. Johnny, he's our pre-construction director. Rick Garcia, he's sitting right back there, superintendent, one of the superintendents. Rick has a healthy civil background, and then Sheldon has a much more building infrastructure background. Julie Sims, raise your hand, Julie. Angela Williams, she's also in the back. First off, can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
LaRonda, say hi. And Barbara. Barbara's a world-renowned architect. She draws it right the first time. You'll never have any conflicts, no RFIs. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, that's what I thought. Also to support him, Margot is Silvino. He's an integral part of her team. And let's just start to go over the intended results. Nice, circular, revolving, you always see these in PowerPoint presentations. But what does it really mean? Because in terms of integrating with us and how we can work together, obviously we want to work with subcontractors who can assure quality execution. But it goes a little bit deeper. Quality is just something that people throw around. We talk about quality control, we talk about quality assurance, but especially from my standpoint, I look at people that we can connect with on an ethical level, moral level, and also too, it will really just understand the expectations that are set out in front of them. Because you can go over all the particular milestones or things that you need, and are they going to execute? Do you have that level of comfort that they will execute as discussed or as planned? Because you start to lose trust from the moment that doesn't happen. So really, we really just need to ensure that level of professionalism on the project from the get-go. Quality control obviously goes without saying. And doing a nice job on the project, pretty much doing it right the first time, coordinating with the other contractors, putting that level of effort in. We talk about it to no end, but also to us as a general contractor needs to be able to listen and understand the issues in doing a high level or detailed level of coordination across the project. And then obviously that takes us into being collaborative. I think, Rick, you can almost attest to this, right? That a good project is always everybody on the job, communicating, understanding each other, being collaborative. And these are the things we really need to see on an everyday basis. I know this is somewhat cliche with me up here speaking it, but it's one thing to talk about it, and it's another thing to do it. So these are really just paramount things, especially with, a project that may be needing to be designed on the fly in certain things, where everything isn't completely ironed out. Everyone needs to come together and collaborate to make sure that you know what the left hand is doing, the right hand knows what the other way around. The right knows what the left is doing, the left knows what the right is doing. And then, obviously, schedule management, because we owe it to the district to deliver on time. It goes without saying that once you start to fall behind, you've got to put a boatload of money or a boatload of effort just to get back on time. So, and I'm a big stickler for scheduling. That's me personally. I manage a pretty strict schedule. If we go over and we put the level of collaboration and communication into it to ensure that we can put together a schedule, I'm going to make sure that I manage to that schedule. So, but it's not me pushing the schedule down your throat. It's just, it's a collaborative effort. I need to hear feedback of all the different things that need to go into the schedule. So that's quality execution. So you do a great job. Great quality execution. You're knocking the ball out of the park. That just goes to increase utilization across other projects, increase exposure, and not with just us, other general contractors, other entities. So, that level of quality or input and effort and execution really just pays dividends on the back end. So, this particular piece is extremely important because as we go into, increased capacity, you'll really start to see now where the relationship is now starting to become a partnership. So, and that's what we're really looking to do, is establish partnerships and not just, fulfill a contract obligation or a contract requirement. So, contagious excellence, being known for execution, leads to more opportunities to execute. Pretty self-explanatory. Expanded network, increased relationships that can lead to more opportunities. So that's just us playing our role to get you in the places that you need to be. So all that goes well, we expect increased capacity of your company. Your company now starts to grow, your bonding needs to grow, and that collaboration and communication never stops, because once we try to engage with you again for new opportunities, we want to hear that, can you do this next job? Or what's the timeline looking for you to be able to execute or take advantage of this opportunity, so that we can plan around your input. And also, too, lead to helping you grow your company and institute all the different initiatives that you would want for your company. So at this particular stage, you start to see that level of mentorship from us as the larger entity, start to pour into your company. And by way of that, we expect you to get back. Once you become the big shot around town and everybody's calling you on every single project, we like for this, so to speak, life cycle to continue. You bring in other contractors, mentor them in the same way that we do, so that we can start to grow this overall, I don't want to say program, but lack of a better word, local market entity. So we want to see that trust and execution and how it translates, not just from a partnership between us, but downstream. So at this point, on this particular project, you met a few of us, right, on this particular project, such as the specific project team, but also too, you have Presidio who's here. So if Presidio folks, you could stand for a quick second, just to acknowledge yourself. Excellent. And thank you for coming, obviously. Appreciate y'all. So this all just becomes intentional, and it's a serious initiative for all of us to make sure that you as our subcontractors come in and feel supported, and you are supporting us throughout all of our initiatives. So I'll just let Barbara come up here for a few seconds and give you a few of the details. She's been intimately involved in this for the past, 8 months, working with Presidio and their group. So she's the best person to kind of speak to all the details as she's been working through it.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm really excited to be here and present to you Forest Oak Middle School addition and renovation project. These are just a couple of renderings that we've created as we've worked on this project over the last 8 months. What you're looking at right now, if you don't mind going back, can you go back?
Sure.
So what you're looking at on the screen is basically the new classroom and science lab addition. Over here in this area, this is the 1956 building.
Hang on, Barbara. I think this has a pointer, right? Does it? That's also on the pointer. Julie, do you know? Let me try. Yeah, it does. Go ahead.
Okay.
You want it?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Which one is that?
Top left.
Okay, so this is the new classroom and science lab addition. Forest Oak Middle School is basically a building that has been added on through time. You will find here, this is the 1953 edition, or the 1953 original building, 1956 classroom edition. We had some renovations taking place in the locker and the athletics. Fine arts addition over here. There was also a cafeteria kitchen addition that took place. There's a new gym back here and the media center that were added through time. So this is just basically the scope of the new addition and renovation project. And so this is our main entry, our new entry to Forest Oak. We are proposing to demolish a portion of the 1956 addition in order for our new classroom addition to fit on the side. And this is just an overall plan. And you can see the different buildings. So this is the original building. This is the 1956 edition, media center, gym, auditorium. This is the fine arts, and then we have the cafeteria and the kitchen here. So a little bit about the project. The owner has requested we address this project by priorities. So what does that mean? There's 5 different priorities that we're addressing for this addition and renovation project. The first priority of them is going to be life safety requirements, fire suppression system, fire protection, ADA, all those systems that need to be updated. And that renovation scope will take place at every single one of these spaces. So priority 1 items will take place for every single space in the campus. Priority 2 items are, I'm nervous. help me out too. What's the priority 2?
It's only, priority 2 is all the building.
Oh, the building envelope, that's right. So priority 2 items also affect every single building in the campus, and it's going to be the building envelope. What does that mean? Re-roofing all the existing building, tuck pointing of the brick, new windows, new doors, all that stuff is category 2 or priority 2 items. Priority 3 items will affect the existing 1953 building and a portion of the 1956 building, and it's right-sizing all of the classrooms to new TEA standards. Priority 4 items are going to be all the HVAC equipment. So any equipment that's on the roof that's been on the roof for 10 years or longer, we're proposing to remove that HVAC unit and replacing it with new. And then finally, priority 5 is the classroom edition, the fine arts edition, the dining room edition. So our project, go to the next one. So our project will include priority 1s for all the 1953, 1956, the media center, the gym, the fine arts. It's all the life safety, fire suppression system, every single building in the campus. Priority 2 will be the envelope for every single building in the campus. Priority 3 will include right-sizing every single space in the 1953 and the 1956 edition, with the exception of the auditorium and the existing gym and the cafeteria. Those spaces will not be touched, but they will receive the fire suppression, life safety, and building envelope items. And then the classroom edition, classroom and science lab edition, we have a connector between the existing 1956 building and the new addition that will have some of their program spaces, and we're proposing to connect the new addition with the media center via a connector piece. There's a big drop in elevation from the 1953 to the 1956 and where the new addition will be located as well. So we're working through those challenges as we work through the project. There's going to be a fine arts addition on this side of the 1953 building, and then our dining room or dining expansion will be located on this area.
Excellent. Even though she was nervous, she did a good job. I got a round of applause. So, you saw a bit of the phasing there. So as we go through project schedule, really right now we're building the project schedule, working with ownership, and also through the challenges that go into all of this, such as budget, money. That's just a minor detail. But also we are now starting to flush out like our permitting strategy and all that stuff. But the overall intent is to get started early 2024 and complete by, I'm throwing this out there, let's just go with 2025, right? So fall of 2025. But as you all know, things happen. We're working through them. So as we all engage and we connect through bidding efforts and so on and so forth, we'll be letting you know what schedule we should be working with to develop your pricing. So on this particular venture, our MBA participation participation goals is set forth there at 25%. So MBE contractors in the room, we need you. And of course, these are some of the trades that we'll need on this particular venture. So, you know, if you represent anything up there, we need you. And let's see. Oh, well, look at that. We need you. Doesn't sound desperate, does it? I hope not. So, our director of pre-construction isn't here, but I'll run through this because I know a little bit about it. But as far as systems go, we'll be using Building Connected to be able to reach out to a lot of you. We'll develop our ITV, which is way down here, but we'll develop it and Building Connected, reach out to you. Communicating through email is, you know, not preferred just because information goes outside of the control network that Building Connected has. So being able to follow up and cover all the loose ends through email, it can happen, but not preferred. I'll just be candid right now and lay out that expectation. So as you guys walked in, you probably saw pre-qualification form outside, intent to bid form. Please fill those out, get us back to us, because it's going to be integral for us to be able to, you know, so to speak, identify what ventures we can all work together on. Because, you know, this isn't the only one. So if it isn't this one, it'll be the next one or the next one after that. But we pride ourselves on being collaborative. So you'll always hear from us. So subsequently, RFIs, things of that nature, and the pricing strategy. Obviously, once we lay out the within the ITV, we'll give you an email address to send all your requests for information to. We'll be on top of it. We'll be passing it on to Barbara or ownership, or even answering it internally to get a turnaround time of within 2 weeks, depending on what the situation is. It could be much sooner, but shouldn't go past 2 weeks. The pricing strategy, TBD, but ultimately, we'll be engaging with you once again through the ITV to let you know what the strategy is and how we need you and how we need the pricing to be received, so on and so forth. So if it's, you know, material broken out, labor, or whatever it needs to be, it'll be identified clearly to you. Also, to the pricing schedule and turnaround time. As of right now, it's going to be 2 weeks on the long side. So that's why we're having this conversation now, is to lay out the expectation that, you know, once we engage with you, we're going to need attention. Being honest, we're going to need that turnaround time within 2 weeks so that we can answer to our higher ups and, you know, not face the music for too long. So that's essentially that in a nutshell. I hope I didn't do Johnny an injustice, but I tried my best. So supporting Fort Worth ISD. So Tim, would you be able to come up for 2 minutes just to say a few words for how the subcontracting community can help, or how you can help?
Or just make something up on the fly.
That too.
I can do that. So with Presidio is the construction management group, 2021 program for Fort Worth School District. So you have 27 projects that are either underway right now or going to be underway this next year. Presidio, we're school people. Okay. One of the great things about working with this type of project is the fact that you work with the community on the schools. So if you like your work to make an impact on the community, this is the type of project you want to do. The thing we like about doing schools is the fact that you're not just serving the community with a project today, but you're actually helping to leave a legacy. This is important work. I was one of those guys who left, school saying, I never want to see another school in my life. And I've spent my entire life walking up and down the halls of schools and going into the schools and watching the kids grow. So this is really important work. The city has got a strong commitment to the community and a strong commitment to the subcontractors and to the work with the construction managers. I'd like to talk about some of the outreach things.
Oh, yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Denise Enriquez. I'm the Hub Outreach Coordinator, along with Marty Slotzman. We all know her. I just wanted to also reiterate what was previously mentioned about the 25% attainment Hub goal. If you are a minority-owned or you represent a minority-owned business, can you please raise your hand? Thank you. So that's what we'd like to see. Definitely take advantage of this opportunity to make those connections. If you are not certified, we do have some certification agencies that are present. If you want to speak to her, and if you are certified but you're not sure, we do accept all certifications. So if you have a certification that you're not sure about, let us know. We'll definitely speak to you about it and get back to you on that. Also, before I hand it back to you, I just want to take a second to introduce also Eric, who works with Fort Worth ISD. He's a construction manager. It wasn't mentioned previously, but yeah, we work hand in hand with Fort Worth ISD.
Awesome, thanks. So now I'm just going to open up the floor a little bit to if you guys have any questions or queries. Hopefully I can answer it or someone in the room can answer it for you, but by all means.
Aaron, we have a special guest. It's about to walk.
A special guest. Everyone, this is Johnny, pre-construction director. So obviously he was doing a whole lot of pre-construction before coming here, but so Johnny, I just went over pretty much your idea, but I just want to give a quick introduction.
Okay.
So we kind of open it up to questions. Any questions? Anybody? By all means.
Yes, Eric, I would like to make a statement. I'm Sharon Dallas Moore, the emergency fire department council. We are a certified organization who develops and advocate regarding business enterprise. You can reach out to me via email, which is construction@fwmsbc.com. Thank you.
I'll take your question.
So you showed a slide with some phasing that we're going to talk about. How to show this is going to be on campus, is there going to be talk a little more about that?
Sure. I'm just going to back into it for a quick second. And I'm going to speak to where we are now. All right. So as Barbara touched on earlier, so let's just kind of go through the phasing a little bit. And Rick, feel free to chime in as I go through, because I can get to chatting. So phase one, directly across the street, is intended to be a surface parking lot. Just adjacent to that, we are expecting some detention system to go in, right adjacent to it. The intent is that in phase two, this parking goes away. So teachers, kids, so on, need some place to park when we're over here putting down this building. So obviously, like Barbara mentioned, a bunch of grading needs to happen in this area to bring everything up to finished grade. Also to bring in the utilities from the street over to this area in phase two. So as of right now, we've kind of internally pointed phase 2A and phase 2B. With phase 2A being the utilities coming over, and then phase 2B being all the stormwater work and grading, so on and so forth that needs to happen here. Phase 3, oddly enough, is on the next side, which is our new addition, and also too, right here is an outdoor courtyard classroom, so to speak, type of situation. And keep in mind, these phases, we've got to deliberate back and forth, but we're currently showing some stacking or staggering between the phases, but that's just due in part to, being able to bring things in on time, and also to some things naturally go together between the phases. So that's phase 3. Phase 4, the Fine Arts Edition and Dining Edition. Phase 5, basically the renovation of the school. And phase 6 is the drop-off and bus lane that needs to go in for our new entrance. So, and also to in the back here, before phase 6 is correcting the track and some of the damage that we do in terms of making our on-site access there in the back and stuff like that. Did I answer your question? Yes, it's intended that they'll be occupied campus, so we'll need to move students and the overall operations of the school and be sensitive to it. But that's where the good contractors shine, right? You can make it so if you're not there. Any other questions?
What phase of design of these going to be 100%?
Good question. Barbara, you take
What was the
that.
question?
What phase is the design in?
We are approaching DDs.
Will there be budgetary rounds before final bidding, and when will final bidding be?
We will actually have a budgetary round that's going to be coming out around after August 11th, and that'll be our first budgetary round, and then we'll have another final round pretty much right before we get our CD. So that's probably looking at depends on where our design and our budget is, probably going to be about 2 or 3 months later.
To October. I'm good, right? I listen. Any other questions?
And I guess the other biggest thing too is that a lot of times in my career, we have the budgetary round, but that's kind of our round where I'm gonna say J. Smith, that we actually get to engage with our subcontracting partners a lot more. So I mean, my thing is, I know a lot of people wait till we get to the final round, but I really want our feedback this budgetary round, because that's where we pretty much make all our decisions to go to the next phase and get our pricing correct, and try to set up on getting to know these partners and seeing how we can go ahead and build our schedule effectively.
Yeah, pretty much at that point, we want to get all the feedback. That way we can pass it up the chain, integrate it, so that the project's laid out and paved the way. So without that, it's, you're inheriting something that, that's never a good feeling, or you're fighting against stuff. Fighting a battle that doesn't usually fall. Anything else? The intent was that we'll have some breakout sessions. If there are no other questions, if you've got some intimate questions that you want to go over, some things, by all means, a few of us will be set up at a few tables. Feel free to stop by and ask, whatever. As you want.
In reference to Mayor, you had mentioned the pre-qualification form, and you did not pick up that form. It's here, you just scan this, you're able to fill out the pre-qualification on this flyer, from this flyer as well.
Yes, the notorious QR code. So feel free to scan it, as she said. All right. Go ahead.
Before we break out, I just wanted to ask the RUCA, they had any events that they have coming up?
So yes, sir, we have a few events coming up.
Of course.
Gotta make sure he's working. Yeah. So my name is Jacob Caballero. I work as regional Hispanic contractors. I'm the event services manager there. We have a few new events coming up. We help our membership with project sustainability, safety, and project opportunities for our membership. We work primarily with general contractors and subcontractors. So we do have a few new events coming up. One is our Build Fort Worth. We're partnering with the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber on that one, and we're going to have over 200 exhibitor tables at the event with about 1,000 people in attendance. So we would love for y'all to come out to that event. And if you have any questions for me or concerns, we will be at our booth. We would love to speak with you. Thank you.
Thank you. So that,
I think, John, if you want to touch on Building Connected and the invitation on there, also.
yeah, I've written over it. I might not.
Well, and it's really not too much. I think a lot of people here, everybody here is on the Building Connected. You know, that's where we're going to be sending our invitations out from. They'll be coming out with Building Connected. There'll be advertisement in local newspapers, and then they'll be going out through all of the trade organizations that we're dealing with right now. So we'll probably, blast it out again, and we'll be coming from the same here. The other thing is that my information should be included in there, and I can give you my phone number, and if you just want to call and ask about the project and the status of where it's at, and just also about inquiring, just to call me or call our office over there in case you've been over the Falcon Drive. So, yes.
Are you guys going to put the pricing strategy and all the pricing breakouts that you want up front really early, because it's a lot easier to give you detailed breakouts as we do first time we do it, before we do it, before we take it off?
There's an obvious answer to that.
Yes, we'll have a pricing strategy, and if we need any breakouts by areas, we'll say that in there.
It just saves a lot of time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
One last thing, just to go back in regards to the district school is 25%. Presidio, we internally aim for 45%. So I just wanted to make sure.
We need you. Okay, so we'll break out. If nobody has any other questions, we'll set up at a few tables, and if there's any other questions. But I do want to say thank you for everybody on such short notice getting out here, coming to hear us talk. Even though some of us were nervous.
You couldn't tell.
Right.